Hello, and welcome to an Oasis overview of their career, all their CDs. I've got a couple DVDs, a lot of bootlegs, some more rare stuff, and they're an awesome band. I don't know if you know their stuff because they're kind of from the 90s, although they're still around up till a couple years ago. And they're a fantastic band. They're one of my all-time favorites. Some people say they're Beatles ripoffs, but in my eyes, they kind of take a lot of good stuff the Beatles did, combined it with kind of a punkier feel, at least in the earlier days, and came up with something totally new. And at the time, when they did it, when I got into them when their first album came out, Definitely Maybe. Live Forever was the song that did it for me, and at the time, there was a lot of grunge stuff out there, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, all really good stuff. But I was in high school, and it's kind of dreary stuff, if you ask me. I mean, it's really good, but and I have a lot of their CDs. I like it, but Oasis came out, and I bought the album, Definitely Maybe, just on a whim, and because I liked the Live Forever song, I thought, oh, I'll check this out. And it wasn't a big impulse guy, but I just bought it at Tower Records back when they had those. And I got home, stuck it in the CD player, and my CD player, my stereo, broke. So I couldn't listen to it. And I was like, oh man, what am I going to do? I really want to hear this. So I busted out my portable CD player, stuck my earphones on my ears, pressed play, Rock and Roll Star came on, and the rest was history. I sat and I listened to the whole album straight through on my bed, didn't move, and was just blown away by this band that had this energetic, upbeat rock and roll, and you just didn't hear that in the 90s like that. And they were huge in the UK and probably the rest of the world, but in the US they were nothing at the time. And yeah, so I mean, ever since then, I've been a huge fan, and their later stuff is really good too, just kind of different. So, all right, let's get started with probably why you want to watch this. First up, I have The Untold Story, which is a bootleg, not an official release. This collects a lot of their earlier stuff before Definitely Maybe it was released. They're sitting on John Lennon's Imagine, very symbolic, There's Liam, the lead singer, his brother Noel Gallagher, and then the rest of the guys are there. And this has a lot of early demos, and then it has some later stuff too, back when they were a lot more popular. These are pretty rough. Liam's voice sounds a lot like the Stone Roses singer. And but there's some pretty good stuff. There's also some stuff that's kind of funny that just because it sounds, it just like they're trying to be serious, but they're just not. They haven't really hit their stride yet. But still, it's pretty neat to watch their musical development start with this. Next up is their debut album, Definitely Maybe. This is one of my all-time favorite albums. The highlights, well, pretty much all highlights. Live Forever, Supersonic, Cigarettes and Alcohol. Those are pretty much the singles. But like Slide Away is incredible. Married with Children. There's not really a weak song on here, so that's really if you're gonna have a debut, wow, that's the way to do it. Next up, I have Wibbling Rivalry, 14 minutes of verbal mayhem. Now the brothers, Noel and Liam, are pretty famous for fighting a lot amongst themselves. That's why the band dissolved. And this is 14 minutes of them in a radio interview just yelling at each other, and Liam saying it's all about the attitude, it's all about, having fun, and, the the attitude of everything that you do, not about the music. And Noel sitting there shouting, it's about the music, it's about the music, it's about the music. And you can just insert about 5 F-bombs in every other sentence. It's hilarious. It's awesome. I have here another bootleg, Crash Landing in L.A. This is the gig that they had a big fight after And this was recorded live at the Whiskey A Go Go, Hollywood, California, September 29th, 1994. And they had a big fight after this. Noel flew actually here to San Francisco, and he wrote the song Talk Tonight, which is pretty cool. When I saw Noel recently perform, he actually in San Francisco, he talked about writing that song, which is pretty neat at the concert. So I've seen Oasis a lot of times. They don't come around as much as they did in the 90s, but pretty good. This is Cigarettes and Alcohol, another bootleg. This one's recorded live in Europe in 1994, and I believe this is the first time they played their single, Whatever, which is a great single, by the way. Here it is, and speaking of Whatever, this is a single. This is not released on any album. It's one of my favorite songs. It also includes It's Good to Be Free, Half the World Away, which are two of their best songs also. The awesome thing about Oasis is their B-sides would be another band's greatest hits, which is pretty neat. This is called Hometown Showdown, and this is recorded a concert from Manchester Academy, England, December 18th, 1994. And pretty awesome. Got an interview disc there. It's really good. Actually, I've never opened it. Another thing called Definitive 2. And this has a bunch of demos on there. It's just pretty interesting to hear them, hear demo songs of these songs that would become big hits, like Supersonic Acoustic and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty neat. Next up, we have the first single off their second album, but this was released in the summer, where the album was released in October, so this was kind of like a preview of everything. This is Some Might Say. It's got the song Talk Tonight, which I told you was written in San Francisco. Really strong single. It's their last single to feature the drummer, McCarroll, before he got sacked, as they like to say. And here's their second single from the album that's going to be upcoming soon. This is Roll With It. There's a big battle with Blur, or who'd have the top single, and Blur had the top single. And so Blur won the battle, but Oasis won the war, because their album did much better than Blur's did. Over time. This has It's Better People, which is really good, and Rocking Chair, which is one of my favorite songs by them. Now the next one is my favorite album from anyone, just because the time I lived in, and when it came out, it was just the best thing ever, and still is. There are no weak spots on it. It's got Wonderwall, Don't Look Back in Anger, Champagne Supernova, but straight through, it's just a incredible album. I have another bootleg. This is called Forever Alone, and this is actually taken from Berkeley and San Jose shows they did in 1995, plus some from LA. But that Berkeley show, I went to Berkeley and the San Jose show, and so this is pretty special to me because I recorded that concert, and actually the quality is fantastic on it. And we have Unplugged Volume 2, and this features a whole bunch of unplugged stuff, and it's pretty awesome. Alright, now this is their biggest single they ever released. This is Whatever. I'm sorry, Wonderwall. It's one of those W ones. These are all the UK singles I have, by the way, too. They did release a US version of this, which had more songs, but I already have those songs, so I didn't really buy it. If you haven't heard Wonderwall, then you've been living under a rock. Everyone's heard that one. This is kind of a funny one. The Mike Flowers Pops, Wonderwall. It's a parody of the song, and it's pretty entertaining, He's a pretty funny guy. Alright, here's Don't Look Back in Anger. This is my second favorite Oasis song of all time. The first is Live Forever. That's my favorite. And this one has a cool cover of a song called Come On Feel the Noise, which was also covered by Quiet Riot in the 80s. This has a song called Step Out, which was actually left off Morning Glory. It was, so it showed up here, and pretty decent. Alright, let's see what we got here. This is called Made in America, and you can't really beat that cover. This is recorded in Virginia, and this is really good sound quality. The crowd shows up really nicely, and Noel does Whatever in Octopus's Garden, Wonderwall, and Slide Away, all acoustic. And just, if you want a live concert, try to find this. It probably is under some other titles too, but it's from Fairfax, Virginia, and that's, I don't know if that's the U.S. or the English version of the date, so probably July though. July 3rd, 96, might be March 7th, 96, depends, I don't remember where this is from. Main Road, another bootleg. This is from just a gigantic concert they had over in the UK, where they're from, and this is when they were kings of the world. Basically, they had some concerts they had two concerts in can't remember where, but they had 125,000 people at each concert. So 2 day total, 250,000 people went to see their concert. That's about as big as you can get. Next up, we have the single for Do You Know What I Mean, which is the first single off their third album. And this has a song called Angel Child, which I really like a lot. It also sung a song called Stay Young, and Heroes, which is a David Bowie cover, which I think is really good too. Now we have Be Here Now. Okay, now here's a concert called It's Getting Better Man, another bootleg. This is taken from the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York on October 8th, 1987. Pretty good concert. The single for Stand By Me. Going Nowhere is one of the B-sides. Pretty good song, actually. All Around the World single, which I actually really like that song. It's one of the best ones off that album. And this whole single is incredible. Actually, it has The Fame, which is a really good song, Flashbacks, which is really awesome, and a cover of Street Fighting Man by the Rolling Stones. Not their best cover, but worth checking out. And this wasn't released anywhere except for Japan. It's Don't Go Away single, and features Cigarettes and Alcohol Live, the studio version of Sad Song, which the only other place you can get it is off definitely maybe the vinyl version, and then Fade Away War Child version, which is an acoustic version of Fade Away. Pretty good. Alright, we have Don't Go Away Brother, another bootleg. This is from The Point in Ireland on December 5th, 1997. 2 discs, there's a lot of stuff on there. Here we have The Master Plan. This is going to be a 2-part video at least. This will also be the last one I'll show for this one. This is a collection of their B-sides, as I believe the fans voted on this. I would have had a different track selection, but if you don't know their B-sides, this is a good place to start. It does have a lot of the good ones on there. So, alright, I'll be back in a second.